I've been thinking about how to create useful gigpreneur type employment for people for a long time. And a couple of years ago, I came up with this business model called Workey. And we have a tagline. People know I like taglines, friends helping friends. Hi, it's Bruce Firestone, and I'm going to talk about the Workey business model. As I said, I've been thinking about it for a long time and how to get people out of their jobs and, how to make an exit from a job maybe they don't like into something that they can own and control and hopefully make some money at it as well. Today, in the era of COVID-19, with more than 7 million Canadians and 40 million Americans out of work, the thinking that I put into this a couple of years ago, I think might be even more relevant today. I kind of borrowed this from Darian Tuitt, one of the young men I coach. He calls it his "Oh Yes" strategy, his one-year exit strategy. And it's all about trying to find a personal business for life and to exit, what my students call JOB, Journey of the Broke. Here's a bad joke. What is a man with a shovel called? Doug. All right, why do I put that image there and why do I tell you that bad joke? Is that the actual impetus for developing Workey was a few things. One, I wanted to see if I could come up with a business model that pretty much anybody could adopt or adapt to their own particular circumstances, neighborhoods, and communities. And also, you can see on the screen here, P.J. O'Connor. He's a single dad. He's a young man in his early 30s. And he was the first Workey that I worked with. He actually does quite a bit of work for me on properties that I own. And entrepreneurs are always thinking about how to turn cost centers into profit centers. We're always asking ourselves, if we're spending money, how do I make money from spending money, right? So one of the things I thought about is that PJ could work not only for me as a quote unquote Workey, but he could work for other people I know, and I could maybe make a little bit of money on his hourly rate. So we've been working on the project and on the concept for a couple of years, and you can see we've done a little bit of marketing and marketing materials. Here on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see tired of snow shoveling, fed up with contractors who don't do a decent job, get a Workey working for you today. All right, let's keep going. Here's a little bit more. So Workey might be snow shovelers, might be lawn maintenance, it might be cleaners, might be personal support workers. In fact, I've got a whole long list that I'll go through for you. So cleaners are potential Workeys, odd job guys, lawn maintenance I already mentioned, leaf blowing, maybe painting inside and out. Everybody, especially as they get older, has trouble with installations and mounting of art or paintings on the wall, photographs. This one, I think people who know me well know I really like adding tech packages to apartments that I rent. And so anybody who has any networking skills or computer skills or multimedia skills, that is also another part of Workey. And we have a company called AdSmart Tech that does that. Moving furniture, moving and packing, that could also be a very useful service. People hate assembling IKEA furniture. I mean, there's whole memes on it, right? So assembling furniture might be a good idea. I mentioned the personal support worker, obviously very important as societies age. Maybe you could help people with home staging and interior decoration. Maybe home meal service provider. Especially for older people, a home chef, a nutritionist, a meal planner, mainly for, again, seniors or wealthy executives who don't really have time to do it themselves. You can have physio care at home, physiotherapy at home. Pool maintenance, opening and closing pools is more difficult than many people think, and obviously there are companies out there that can do it, but it could be a Workey too. Window cleaning is very simple to do, can be quite rewarding. Personal shoppers, today especially, again in COVID-19, a lot of older people don't really want to go into stores. If young people get sick, it is a tragedy, but a terrible illness. But if old people get sick, it can lead to mortality. Could be professional dog walkers. And for those of you who are doing the pivot course, we do have Erica Godwin who's coming on as a guest lecturer to talk about marketing. Marketing means obviously dog marketing. She builds websites for professional dog walkers, so that could be another worky type thing. House sitting and cottage sitting is another element. Maybe some coaching, which is what I do. Maybe some property management, maybe a personal trainer. Uh, and anyway, you get the idea that Workey could be, you know, 100 different types of tasks. Are there competitors out there? Sure, there are. There's huge competitors like TaskRabbit, which was actually bought by IKEA to solve the problem of people not being able to put their furniture together. And you can see it's a pretty broad scale service. On the right hand side, you'll see popular tasks, delivery services, grocery shopping, handyman services, furniture assembly, yard work, painting, much of the stuff that I went through already, TV mounting, lighting installation, that's a new one, hanging pictures, IKEA services, that's a big one because of course now they're owned by IKEA. So what kind of dollars and cents could you generate if you started your own little Workey business? Let's say you had 4 independent contractors, so 4 PJ O'Connors that worked with you. Maybe you would pay PJ anywhere from $18 to $24 an hour, something like that. That would be in Canada. In the United States, it might be a little less. In Australia, it might be a little bit more. So I just, these are just some numbers I put together. So let's say the average payout to an independent contractor, a Workey working for you, is 22 hours, $22 per hour, and he or she is working 35 hours a week. That's just a number I made up. It could be more, it could be fewer hours. So it means that if you had 4 Workeys working for you and they were all billed out for 35 hours a week, you would be paying them about $3,000 a week, which works out to about $13,000 a month. But you would probably bill them out at $35 an hour. In Ontario, you have to add HST. The United States doesn't have a national sales tax, but many European countries, and in fact most countries now have some kind of a value-added tax. So let's say you bill them out at $35 an hour, which certainly in my area, which is Ottawa, Canada, you can do. It means you'd have $4,900 in weekly billings, around 21,000 a month. So there is a margin there. Your margin would be about $7,800 or $7,900 a month, or about $95,000 a year. So you can see you don't need to have a whole army of independent contractors before you can start to make some money for yourself, because you're managing this system, right? If you only had time and energy for 2 independent contractors, so a PJ and one other, then your earnings, your gross margin is reduced to about $3,900 a month. You can see it on the bottom of the screen here, about $47,000 a year. But if you're a young person or ambitious person, and this is something you want to focus on, if you had 20 contractors working 35 hours a week for you and billing them out, as we discussed, you could make ridiculous amounts of gross margin, you know, 39,000 a month, almost $500,000 a year. Obviously, you have costs against that gross margin, but that's a pretty good gross margin by renting out your Workeys and keeping them busy year round, hopefully. So what makes you stand out? For those of you who've been in the pivot course and others who've studied with me now for a few decades, you know I really believe in differentiated value. What makes you stand out? So what would make Workey better than, say, TaskRabbit? Okay, I mean, you know, TaskRabbit is a pretty big company, I think. So the differentiated value here, which I think is really important, is that Workey is one-on-one matching of a Workey with a client. So as you know, if you have ever ridden with Uber or Lyft, every time you know, call for an Uber or Lyft, or for that matter, for a taxi, you're going to get, in all likelihood, a new driver. The same thing I think is true with TaskRabbit. You know, you're hanging some paintings, you need some help, you need some yard work done, whatever, you know, whoever is available to do your personal shopping or your cleaning, whatever, is assigned that task. So every time, or probably most of the time you're getting some new person. What makes Workey different is that that's not what you would do. It's a neighborhood thing, it's a local community thing, and if you had 4 Workeys, each Workey would sort of have his or her own clients. So the cleaners who show up every week or every month to clean your house, or for that matter, your place of business, are the same. You get to know them. You get consistency in service, and you get loyalty, and you build a relationship. I think that's really important. That is the major differentiator, I think, plus, of course, local ownership. You know, today I think people are looking for local solutions to support local, grow local, produce energy local, and this, I think, would also be a local and neighborhood thing rather than a national service. That's just my view of what Workey could be. Everybody knows that I like business models. I think business models are important. And if you remember back to the preparatory webinar we did for the Pivot course, I showed a very similar model for a cleaning, for Brianna, who's running a cleaning company. This is very similar. So it's, again, local ownership. You're serving the neighborhood and the community. You're helping your neighborhood, your community, your neighbors, right? Friends helping friends. On the left-hand side, you know, what supplies do you need? Well, if you're doing yard work, you're going to need a lawnmower, you're going to need a snow blower, you're going to need, if you're doing cleaning, mops and cleaning supplies, you're going to need some kind of a way of getting around, car or truck. And of course, you're going to have your independent contractors who are suppliers in this business model. They're independent contractors and they supply their services to the Workey model. Then up here you have the brain, which is your matchmaker and schedulizer, which when you're a small business like what I'm talking about here can just be your brain. It doesn't have to be a very complicated back end, and you'll see more about that in a minute. On the upper side here, what kind of marketing would you do? Maybe you'd have some flyers, some door hangers, some lawn signs, you'd have a website, you'd have some social media presence, and of course you hope for word of mouth. On the right-hand side are your clients. Who would your clients be? Well, homeowners, you know, typically busy executives who don't have time to cut their own grass, or elders who maybe don't want to do it or can't do it. If you're in the cleaning business, we've talked about it before in other forums with me, Airbnbs, you know, obviously they need to be cleaned, and these days, deep cleaned. And you can have some commercial clients too. So that's over here. All right, so let's keep going. So that's a very basic business model. To run this business, if you have 2 Workeys or 4 Workeys, you probably don't want to invest in anything more extensive than just having a whiteboard. You can get whiteboards like this, not very expensive, and you could say, okay, PJ has to go and see Bruce on, you know, June 4th, and, you know, and Mary has to go and see Betty, you know, if she's a personal support worker on certain days. You can do some very, very simple stuff. It doesn't have to be expensive or costly to get into this this business, and it can produce, you know, significant returns for people. And this was just something I randomly picked off the internet, and you can see you can get the whiteboards that I showed on the previous slide, and they not only allow you to use dry erase markers, they allow you to use magnets, so it's pretty simple scheduling, and you can buy them for $200 to maybe $320, and there may be places that are cheaper. Then if you had 20 Workeys, and certainly if you had 100, but if you had 20 Workeys working for you in your neighborhood, in your community, you might want to go with an app. This is a free app that Eva O'Grady, one of the people I coach, found. It's called When I Work, and I'm going to play the video here. It's not very long. It's a free app, and it will help do the scheduling if you get a bit bigger.
Managing, scheduling, and coordinating hourly teams is time-consuming, complicated, and expensive. Back-office spreadsheets and disjointed systems have plagued hourly workplaces for decades, resulting in high labor costs, painful inefficiency, and employee turnover. When I Work changes everything with integrated scheduling, time tracking, hiring, and team messaging. It's a complete employee management solution that ensures reliable shift coverage, engaged employees, and faster decisions, giving everybody what they need to be successful at work. Start your workplace transformation today. Join over 1 million people and get shift done at wheniwork.com.
So it got a pretty good rating. You can see 4.6 out of 5. So I've never used it, but Eva found it, and apparently people who use it quite like it.
Managing,
Whoops,
scheduling, and
sorry about that.
coordinating hourly teams
I'm
is
going to
time
turn that
consuming,
off. Just give me a
complicated.
second. Apologize. All right. So also people who've been working with me for a while now know that every business needs a magic marketing button, an easy button. You press that button and clients or customers magically appear. If you can't cost effectively find new clients and customers or retain existing customers and clients, your business will not work. So what is the magic marketing button for something like this? Well, I personally like lawn signs. I apologize. This is um, a little bit off-brand maybe, but it's a pretty effective lawn sign. Our crap could be your crap. This is a lawn sign that would advertise your garage sale and presumably would get quite a bit of attention. And again, I like to turn cost centers into profit centers. So if I were doing a lawn sign campaign for Workey, I might go to the neighborhood uh, pizza place or the neighborhood pub once they reopen, or the neighborhood storefront lawyer, and say, "Would you like to advertise on my lawn signs? Helping the community." So maybe people need help with writing their will or help with a real estate transaction. So, you could charge people to be on the other side of your sign, and you could turn what would have been a cost into a profit center. Your lawn signs could, in fact, be a profit center. I hope you understand what I'm getting at. That is called negative cost marketing via co-branding. Same thing is true if you wanted to put door hangers. Door hangers would be quite expensive. Probably a nice door hanger these days in color might be 40 cents each. And again, if you co-branded them with other people who would advertise with you, maybe they would cover most or all, or even more than all of the cost, in which case, again, it becomes negative cost marketing for you. So what are some of the other things that you might do? Well, place your lawn signs in neighborhoods where you live, in the community where you live. It's cheaper to use lawn signs than to, say, put a door hanger or send a flyer to everyone, but you might do that as well. You might talk to seniors groups to see if anyone needs worky help. There's lots of seniors groups, and they're always looking for people to come in and talk. That's again, once we're allowed to, go and visit our seniors. You might be able to use Facebook marketing. We had a C of Oceanarusian Empire Deck and Fence gave a wonderful lecture about how he built Empire Deck and Fence using many of the techniques for marketing that we're talking about here. And he gave a wonderful class, pivot class, one of the best I've ever seen. Certainly, he seems to have exceeded his prof. That would be me. And there's the YouTube link if you want to look at it again. The best place to find new clients is your old clients. So send all your email contacts. You have email contacts. You have Facebook contacts. You have LinkedIn contacts, Instagram contacts. Send them a message. Tell them what you're doing. I have a very active YouTube channel. It's easy to do videos today and upload them to YouTube. People seem to like videos. You can start a blog. I happen to like writing, and people happen to like reading. At least some people seem to like reading what I write, so my blog is pretty important. I do free webinars, lots of them. I get people to register using Eventbrite, which allows you to capture their emails legally and contributes to building your list. The bigger your list, the more valuable it is. Somebody told me that every email address you can collect legally is worth about $10. And you can borrow emails from, for example, BIAs. When I started coaching years ago, real estate investment and business coaching, I would ask the local BIAs, some of whom have like 20,000 person email lists, whether I could advertise in their newsletters. So I could, say in Canada, which is a big tech area, and tech guys tend to like, men and women tend to like real estate. I could say, hey, I'm in the real estate investment and business coaching business, and if you're interested, email me, and they email me, I email back and forth, and that's a legal way to capture email addresses. Of course, word of mouth is crucial too. So on every job you do, ask clients for a testimonial. Hey, Prof. Bruce, you're great. I hope, and ask them for referrals. Often they'll say, "Oh yeah, I've got a friend who needs some Workey help." And I think of all the social media, at least this is for me, I think LinkedIn is really important. It does connect you with, for example, busy executives who might need Workey help, and people who have money and have requirements. This is new. Clients of mine, coaching clients of mine at huckleberrylabs.ca have introduced this thing. I hope you can see it here on the right-hand side. It's on my website now, called Ping. So when people go to my website as of like a few days ago, they can put their cell number in, and I think their email address too, and they can ask me a question, and it comes to my phone. It's a text, right? And I can answer back by text. It really improves conversion rate. So if you had a website for your local neighborhood Workey group, I would probably put Ping on it, and it's not expensive. I think it's $20 a year, so probably 25 or 26 Canadian dollars a year, and it really improves conversion rates. Some more marketing you can do: offer free clarity calls. People, I use Zoom a lot, as I think many people who know me know. And, if they want to talk to me about something using a Workey, for example, what kind of jobs they might have that need doing, I'll offer them a free clarity call. Because once you capture a customer, a Workey client, he or she, they might be your client for many years to come. So it's worth doing some biz dev for free. And don't forget to follow up. I put into my Google Calendar follow up, follow up, follow up. At least 2 or 3 follow ups, because it's amazing. As a coach, people will often hire me a year or even 2 years after the first contact. So put it into Google. I don't know. It's simple, but I delegate to Google Calendar. People learn mostly from case studies, right? So if you did some really great, or you or your workies did some really great work for clients, write it up as a case study. It doesn't have to be long. Put it on your blog, or create a little video, put it on YouTube, how you saved the day, or your Workey saved the day. Things like Kijiji ads and Craigslist ads and stuff like that might help. And lastly, I wouldn't attempt it myself to do a Google AdWords campaign, because Google AdWords and frankly Facebook advertising too is a little bit too complicated for me. I don't really understand it properly. So I would hire people like my young friend Matt Thibault, who runs Savant Marketing Agency. He actually knows how to make the phone ring, emails sing, and texts ping. So he is an amazing marketer. And most marketing agencies aren't really agencies at all. They might give you a nice website, they might give you a nice business card, that sort of thing, but nice logo. But that's not really, to me, that's not really marketing. That's just it's a branding exercise, sure, but it's a design service as opposed to a marketing agency. To me, a marketing agency does all of those nice things that I just mentioned, but also knows how to make the phone ring, or your email sing, or your texts ping, right? And that's the kind of thing that Matt does with Google AdWords. I put this in here because I want to make sure that people understand how important a brand is. So if you're creating, a Workey a group for your local neighborhood, and you're going to run it, your brand is really important. Most marketing people, again, will tell you that a brand is really important, but they don't actually know why. And the missing link, and I've thought this through for a number of years, is trust. So you put money into marketing to create a brand. A brand, a good brand, creates instant trust in your potential customer. And it's trust that allows you to sell them something, because people don't like to buy from people they don't like and don't trust. So if you've got a great brand which has created an aura of trust around what you do, then people hopefully will like what you've done, will like you, and they will buy from you. So that's what it is. And you can turn trust into sales, right? And once you do that, sales will produce, as my wife Dawn McMillan says, it will produce IGA money. Money you can touch, feel, and spend. That's the importance of a brand. I like guerrilla marketing, but you have to be careful because guerrilla marketing can also backfire. It's always a bit dodgy, a little bit of a gray area. But one of the things I thought about in terms of Workey is what would I do if I were trying to get Workey off the ground on a bigger scale than what I do is I might ask PJ and some of the other people that I work with on after a big snowfall, let's go out into my neighborhood and just randomly go and blow snow off of laneways and pathways and sidewalks and whatever, and help folks that way. And maybe they would let us put a lawn sign, hey, Workey, in your neighborhood, friends helping friends. You might find an overgrown lawn. You might just show up, knock on the door. This is again after COVID-19, and you're allowed to knock on doors and say, hey, listen, I'm here. I noticed your lawn needs cutting. You want me to do it for you for free? Random acts of kindness. It is a form of guerrilla marketing, but you have to ask permission. One of the things I wanted to do when I developed this concept was I wanted to make sure that people could generate enough cash flow to get out of their day-to-day job, the journey of the broke, and help their community, their neighbors, etc. And without necessarily having to invest a huge amount of money to launch a business. You could probably launch this business for not very much money. So the downside risk is quite low, the investment is low, and so the risk, I think, is pretty low, that you're not going to lose much money. And if it's successful, I think you can make a living at it, and maybe a bit more. This is me for real estate investment and business coaching that'll help you provide for yourself and your family for 3 generations. Please contact me. By email is probably best, bruce.firestone@century21.ca. You can text me anytime at 613-762-8884. And you can see that I have a link here on this, which is kind of complicated, but you can just go to my website, brucemfirestone.com, and you'll see there right on the website is a utility that allows you to book a clarity call. It's free, and I do that for people, and I like doing it, and it puts me in touch with potential clients and customers, and I always learn something on every clarity call. So thanks very much for listening, and let me know if you're interested in the Workey model.